Hello friends, welcome to Chidres Tech Tutorials. From this video tutorial onwards, for the next few video tutorials, I would like to discuss form validation in JavaScript. We are going to understand how to perform form validation in JavaScript. We make a validation of the complete student registration form step by step. So let's get started. I search for Notepad++. I select the Notepad++. You can see that the Notepad++ got open. Here I am going to write the basic HTML5 document structure code. I say less than exclamation mark doc type HTML. By reading this line of code, browser understands the given HTML document is the HTML5 document. We know that our HTML document begins with opening HTML tag and ends with closing HTML tag. In the opening HTML tag, I say lang equal to en. Lang equal to en indicates the language of this document is English. We know that our HTML document is divided into two sections, head section and body section. To indicate the head section, I say opening head tag and closing head tag. To indicate the body section, I say opening body tag and closing body tag. That is the body section, that is the head section. In the head section, I say meta char set equals to UTF-8. That indicates character set of this document is Unicode transformation format 8. I am going to save this file. I say file, save as. I save the file at the desktop with the name default.html. Both sides I put double quotations and save. I minimize it. You can see that default.html page is created. I right click on it, say open with the Google Chrome. You can see that default.html page is open in the Chrome and title is set to default.html, which is same as the file name. We can change the title of the web page using the title tag that we write in the head section. I say here opening title tag and closing title tag. Inside the title tag, I say form validation in JS. File, save, go to browser and refresh. You can see that the title is changed to form validation in JS. Next, in the body section, I say opening form tag and closing form tag. We know that to create forms, we take help of the form tag. In the form tag, we use an attribute called as action. Action attribute indicates which page to which page all the form data need to be submitted. Here I say processor processor.html page. So whatever the data user enters in this form is submitted or sent to the processor.html page. We are going to create that, guys. Next, we use the attribute method, which indicates the method of submitting the form. We use either get value or post value. I say here get. We are going to understand what is the difference between get and post soon, guys. So don't worry. We are going to understand each of these attributes still more clearly. Next, I am going to identify this form uniquely by giving an ID of FRM student registration. And same I set for name attribute also, FRM student registration. Okay, that's the form tag and its attributes. Next, what I am going to do, inside the form tag, I am going to say label, opening label and closing label. And inside this label, I say student name colon. If I say file, save, go to browser and refresh, you see student name colon is displayed. Below that, I am going to display a text box also. Here I am going to say br and then I say input type is equal to text and the value of this field will be empty, and I say here placeholder equal to enter your name. I am going to identify this text field uniquely by saying txt student name, and then I say name equal to txt student name close. So if I save this one, file, save, go to browser and refresh, you see that we got a text box where user is going to enter the name, student name. Next, I'm going to connect this input field with the label using the for attribute. I say here txt student name. This label is for txt student name. Okay. Next, below this, I am going to create one span, opening span and closing span tag. I am going to identify it uniquely by giving an ID of SPN is student name valid. So using this span, we are going to display whether the student name is valid or not. And then I am going to use 2 times br tag. Next, I am going to create here input. Type is equals to submit. We are creating here a submit button, and the value will be submit. If I say file, save, go to browser and refresh, we get a submit button. Next, I say input type equals to reset, and the value of this field will be reset, close. I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. See, we got the reset button. Now we understand what is the purpose of this action attribute. When we click on the submit button, whatever the data that user enters here in this field, okay, txt student name field, is sent to processor.html page. So browser takes us to the processor.html page, and there you will see txt student name equal to whatever the value of this field is. Check out, if I come here and say Manjunath, and if I click on submit, you see that browser is taking us to processor.html page. Why it is taking us to processor.html? Because we have told here action equal to processor.html. And also you can see that it is displaying in the query string txt student name equals to Manjunath. What is txt student name? Txt student name is the name of the field, name of this input field, and the value we have entered is Manjunath, right? That's the reason it is telling txt student name is set to Manjunath. So that is what the action indicates. And another thing, we have method get. When you use method equals to get, when you set method equals to get, when you submit the form, whatever the data that you send to the processing page, it displays in the query string everything. It displays all the data. It displays the field name and the value, field name and the value. If you do not want to display this query string at all, then you will be going for the method post, guys. So if I say here post, file, save, go to browser and refresh, and if I select here Manjunath, and if I submit, this time you don't see the query string at all. It goes to processor.html, but there is no query string. It is not displaying txt student name equal to Manjunath. So that is the difference between get method and post method. If you set method as get, file, save, go to browser and refresh, and choose Manjunath and submit, you can clearly see the query string displaying the field name and its value, guys. So when you use get, all the parameters are displayed here, whereas if you choose post method, then you don't see any query string here, guys. Of course, we have not created the processor.html page. That is the reason it is telling your file could not be accessed. So let's create that file also. I'm going to go to Notepad++. I say file, new. Here I am going to write the basic structure of HTML5 document. I copy this code, Ctrl C to copy and paste here. And in this title, I just say here processor page, and then I say here closing body tag and closing HTML tag. Let's save this file. I say file, save as. I save the file with the name processor.html. Both sides I put double quotations and save. Now the processor.html page is also created. So this time if you submit, you don't find the error. It simply goes to processor.html page with the query string. I hope you guys have clearly understood what is the purpose of action attribute, what is the purpose of method attribute. Now one more thing you observe, that if I do not enter the data here, if I click on the submit button, it is going to processor.html page and saying txt student name is equal to empty, nothing. So that is not the right thing. Here user must and should enter the student name. If he do not enter the student name, when we click on the submit button, we tell user please enter the student name. Here comes the form validation, guys. So when we click on the submit button, we are going to execute a JavaScript function. We validate everything and then we tell whether to submit the form or not. For that, here I am going to use an attribute called as onSubmit. onSubmit is an event which is triggered when we click on the submit button, guys. Here I am going to say when we submit the form, first from the JavaScript validate function should get executed. Okay, we are going to create this validate function inside the JavaScript. So here at the bottom I say opening script tag and closing script tag, and then I say here type is equal to text or JavaScript. Here we are going to create the JavaScript function. I say function and say validate opening flower bracket closing flower bracket. So in the validate function we are going to validate all form fields. If everything is fine, we are going to return true value. If we return true, then the form is submitted, guys. So here we are going to use the keyword return. So whatever the validate function returns, based on that it is decided whether to submit the form or not. So at present you can see that the validate function is returning true. So if I say file, save, go to browser and refresh, if I click on the submit button, of course our browser moves to processor.html page. That means the submission happened. Okay, I come back and here I am going to return false. I say FALSE. Now the validate function is returning false. So what happens? Check out. If I say file, save, go to browser and refresh, if I click on the submit button, now the form is not getting submitted. It's not moving to processor.html page. Why? Because the validate function is returning false. So if you get here false, there will be no submission. If we get here true, then the submission happens, guys. That is good. That's awesome. Now what are we going to do is we are going to validate this text field. Okay, so what are we going to do here is first we are going to create one variable called as is student name valid. Initially we set it to true. Okay, is student name valid equals to true means we are assuming initially that student name field has the valid value. Okay, next we are going to get the value of this text field by using its ID, guys. So what I do here, I say document dot get element by ID. Here we are going to give the ID txt student name, and then I say dot value. So what are we telling here? We are telling get the value of the HTML element whose ID is set to txt student name. So this field ID is set to txt student name. Its current value is written by this code, guys. We can see that if I say here alert bracket close, if I say file, save, what happens when we click on the submit button? Of course the validate function will get called. It sets is student name valid equals to true, and then document.get element by id txt student name dot value is going to get the current value of this field, and that is displayed in the alert box. Okay, if I come to browser and say refresh, if I say here Manjunath and submit, you see that we got the alert box and we got the value of this text field Manjunath. Okay, and is going to processor.html page. That's good. Now what are we going to do? We are going to say here, if the value of txt student name is equals to empty, then we say is student name valid is equals to false. That means txt student name has no valid value. Is student name valid false means student name is not valid, guys. And then what are we going to do? We are going to display the message in this span. Here I say document dot get element by id. In double quotations I say spn is student name valid, that is this span tag, dot inner html. Inner HTML means the content of this span tag. Okay, inner HTML indicates the content should be equal to please enter your name. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this code. I'm referring the same span tag, but this time I'm setting the CSS style dot color should be red. So this text should be displayed in the red color, guys. Okay, else that means this field is not empty. txt name field is not empty. User has entered the name. Student name is there. Then is student name valid will be true only. Okay, either we can paste here or we can leave it as it is, guys. I'm going to paste it for your easy reference. Next, what are we going to do? We are going to display in the spn is student name valid as valid. Okay, we just display that there is a valid data, and also we are going to set the color of that valid text to green. Okay, we are going to set it to green, guys. Next, after executing this code, is student name will be either false or it will be true. So we simply say here, if is student name valid is equals to false. If it is false, that means student name is not valid. So simply we say here return false. We return false. If we return false, of course the form is not submitted, guys, right? Form is not submitted. Else we return true. That means we have a valid data, guys. So if I save this file, go to browser and refresh. If I try to submit the form now, if I click on submit button, it says please enter your name because it is empty, right? So when I click on the submit button, what happened? When I click on the submit button, the validate function is called, right? Validate function is called, and here we are getting the value of the text field and we are checking whether it is empty. Of course it is empty, right? So this is true. So we are saying is student name valid equals to false. So we are setting is student name valid equal to false, and we are displaying in the span tag please enter your name in the red color. After executing this block, control comes here. It checks whether is student name valid equal to false. Of course is student name valid equal to false is set, so it returns false. I told you when it returns false, the form is not submitted, guys. So that is what happening here. So whenever I click on the submit button, it is not going to processor.html page. It's not submitting. It is displaying please enter your name. If I enter the name, let's take Manjunath, now what happens? If I click on the submit button, same validate function is called. Is student name valid is set to true. It checks whether the value of txt student name is empty. No, this time it is not empty because we have entered Manjunath. So it comes here, is student name valid is set to true. It sets is student name valid equal to true, and it displays valid in the green color inside spn student name valid. And then the control comes here. It checks whether is student name valid is equal to false. No, we have set here is student name valid to true. So this condition becomes false. It returns true, guys. And then the form is submitted. So now check out what happens. If I click on submit button, it goes to processor.html page with txt student name equal to Manjunath. here it is actually displaying valid text. Okay, you are not able to see because it is quickly submitting the data. Okay, in the next video you will definitely see that we are going to display here valid text, guys. Okay, that you see definitely in the next video. If you want, you can display the cross mark and check mark. So simply you can say ampersand hash x2716 semicolon. That is the HTML entity for cross mark, and here I am going to say 14. Okay, 2714 is the HTML entity for check mark. So if I say file, save, go to browser and refresh. If I click on the submit button, you can see we are getting this cross mark saying please enter your name. And if I enter here Manjunath and say submit, here it displays a check mark with valid text in the green color and then submitted, guys. Okay, the form is submitted. It's quickly submitting, so you are not able to see here, but definitely in the next video you will see that. Okay, that is good. Now we understood how to validate the TXT student name, right? Empty validation we have done. That's good. Next thing what I want is I want to implement the reset button. See, if I click on the reset button, of course it is resetting this field to default value. But if I click on submit button, we are getting here please enter your name because this field is empty. If I click on the reset button, it is not clearing this, right? If I enter my name and say reset, it is only resetting the form field, not the span tag. So for that we are going to use another event called as on reset, and here we say reset form function should be called. When we click on the reset button, reset form function from the JavaScript should be called and executed. That we are going to create here, guys. So I say function reset opening flower bracket closing flower bracket. So in this place I simply say document.getElementById spn is student name valid dot inner HTML should be equal to empty. That's it. I say Control S to save, go to browser and refresh. If I say here submit, it is showing please enter your name. I say Manjunath, and if I click on reset button, you see this text field is reset back to default value, that is empty, and here we get empty. If I say reset, see both the things are reset. If I click on submit, please enter your name, Manjunath, reset, both are getting reset. If I enter the name and submit, it submits the form, guys. And another thing what are we going to discuss now is, of course, we are getting the student name here. I want to display that in the browser here. I want to display that in the browser. So what are we going to do? In the processor.html page, okay, I go to processor.html page. I am going to use the script tag, opening script tag, and say closing script tag. And then here I say type is equal to text or JavaScript. And then I am going to say var query string. We are going to get the query string, guys. How do we get? We say window dot location dot search. So this code window dot location dot search returns the query string in this one. I'll show that. If I say here alert and display the query string, I save this. Okay, I save both the files, go to browser and refresh. If I enter Manjunath and click on submit button, you see in the alert box we are seeing the query string. Whatever the text follows after the question mark here is called as a query string, guys. Query string is going to contain the parameter name and the value. This is called as parameter name. That will be the field name, like input field name or a button field name, whatever, and the value. We can access the parameters and their values very easily. I say OK, just go back. Here in the processor.html page, I am going to create one object. I say var query string params, means parameters, is equal to new URL search params, params. Inside that we pass the query string. Copy that. So what happens when this code is executed is URL search params takes the query string, and from that it returns the parameters and their value inside this object, guys. Okay, what we can do is we can say query string params dot get. We use the get function, and inside that we write the parameter name like txt student name. And here I say document.write in double quotations. I say student name colon space. Query string params dot get txt student name gives the value of the parameter txt student name, guys. So if I save this and go to browser and refresh, if I enter the name Manjunath and click on the submit button, you see it displays student name colon Manjunath. You can see that it is displaying the student name colon Manjunath. That is the value of this parameter. So in this video tutorial, we understood how do we validate the student name. We validate for empty, guys, empty field. I hope you guys have clearly understood. I suggest you people to watch this video again and again. Try everything yourself. If you try everything yourself, you get still more clear idea, guys. Okay, you have to try it step by step, as I am explaining in the same way. Step by step you have to type the code and understand what exactly happening step by step. I hope you enjoyed the session. In the upcoming video tutorials, we are going to discuss more about form validation in JavaScript. As I told, we are going to validate the complete student registration form. Okay, so that is the reason I am dividing this topic into a multiple videos. Hope you enjoy. Try this video, guys. If you have any doubts, please put them in the comment section. If you like this video, hit the like button and share with your friends so that everyone will get benefited. For more benefits and be up to date, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Keep learning, keep coding, keep sharing. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial.